guys, my name is Icon and I'm gonna play some Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup tonight. And we're gonna start out with a Minotaur and we're gonna play the character class Monk. So, for our first weapon I think we're gonna go for an axe. So that's an interesting start here. We're gonna turn off the automatic training and put up the basic skills, and well, my goal is to achieve a streak, which means to win as many games in a row as possible. I don't know if I can achieve this with this run, but I'm gonna try and explain and document my thought process, my decision making, and I hope you guys can enjoy that. And let's go. The basic challenge I have made here is I decided to play a monk, and my goal is to follow the first god I run across. Minotaurs are very good to win the game. Oh, there's some baddies. I'm gonna go slowly back here. It's three at once. I don't want to risk an early death here. We don't know what's behind the corner there. Yeah, what I was trying to say was Minotaurs can win the game pretty easily because they have very, very good offensive qualities, a ton of hit points, very good aptitudes with any weaponry and armor, which means they can pick up anything apart from helmets and can rock the game with it. So there are two slings here. I wonder if I should take one. I guess yes. It's always nice to have a ranged option. There are no sling bullets yet, but I'm gonna put those on auto pickup because, well, I like to have one option for ranged combat, always. Because there are sometimes enemies I don't wanna completely have to kill in melee, at least soften them up a little. So there's a first ring. I'm not gonna wear it yet because I don't know how to remove curses yet, and if this is a cursed ring of teleportation or a -5 protection ring or something ugly like that, we're in utter danger because right now we're only wearing a robe, which means we're bulky, but we get hurt a lot if there's some real baddie out there. But it's Dungeon 1, most of the enemies here are pretty harmless, so we can safely roam through here and grab our first levels, and hopefully don't run into anything too scary. But I'm not auto-exploring here because, well, sometimes you meet some crazy stuff at D1, which certainly doesn't belong there. Speaking of gnolls with halberds and such ugly things. So we reached level 3. We got our first stat point. And I think I go straight forward into some strength because the aptitudes of a Minotaur in spellcasting are outright horrible. I don't know if I'm gonna ever invest into intelligence in this game. I don't think so. So there's another gecko. Let's slaughter it. And as you can see, it still did 9 damage to me. That's a lot for a gecko. But that's mainly because this rope doesn't provide any protection at all. Our armor class is down to a meager 2. And there we are at Dungeon 2. So, this is the thing about being a Minotaur. You furiously retaliate. I get an automatic counter similar to Longblade riposting sometimes, which can be quite insane from time to time. So there's a jackal, and where there's one jackal, there's always at least one more. But looks like that's all of them. So I'm taking this at a very, very slow pace because Dungeon 2 is a very dangerous place. If we meet something ugly like Grinder down here, our journey can very soon be coming to an end. So I'm going back to the stairs and try out some of my scrolls. We got a spare remove curse, which is really nice, an identification scroll. I'm gonna use this on the potion, which is a potion of cancellation. That's certainly useful, but not right yet. Last one was a scroll of teleportation. That's the reason why I was on the stairs, fleeing upstairs and avoiding to be teleported somewhere scary around here and having no way back home. That's ugly if it happens. So, since we have a remove curse, we can try out this leather armor and its fire resistance. Leather armor is still not very protective, but, well, we're gonna try out this hunting sling as well, because if it's cursed, it would be really annoying because I couldn't remove it. And there's another ring. So that's a cursed ring of loudness. Huh. Well, I'd rather remove it. I feel like something bad could happen. Whoops, that was wrong. Dropped my leather armor, silly me. We wanted to drop this ring. Nobody needs a ring of loudness. So let's slowly go forward and hope to find some good equipment along the way. The leather armor is a nice start, but I don't think I'm gonna wear it too long. Fire resistance might be handy, but, well, most stuff around here doesn't toss fire damage too much. So, this is a very harmless D2 so far. I'm finding some teleport traps, which can be pretty mean from time to time. So there's a goblin. I've decided to auto-explore a bit for now. And there's the first altar, and it's an unknown god. Our challenge comes to its climax. The first climax. Which god do we receive? Usually you won't do that, but it's for the fun. And to make this run a bit more interesting. Yeah, what's it gonna be? It's the Shining One. Okay. Shining One it is. It's pretty useful. I can put up this Divine Shield, which basically provides me with the same benefits as if I was wielding a shield, but I do not have to wield a shield for that. But I can wield a shield with it for even more shield. We're gonna see what we're gonna do. It opens up some nice possibilities for two-handed weapon combat, which would be fun. Minotaurs with two-handed weapons can hit like trucks. It's sure some fun. Yeah, let's see. But first we gotta survive these first few levels and basically the run for some good equipment, because right now my gear is really bad. I only have this hand axe and the leather armor, and that's basically everything I'm wearing. So if I'm gonna encounter something like an ogre, which can happen at D2 from time to time, he could really hurt me a lot. We're picking up some meat, so we're not hungry anymore. So that's why I'm exploring this really cautiously. I'm really endangered with this equipment right now. Even though Minotaurs can still kill a lot of things, even with this bad equipment. So there's Natasha. Natasha can slow me with a 53% chance. That's pretty spooky. But we only have this potion of cancellation. We're not having any wands or not even sling bullets to fire at her, so I'm gonna approach and try to smack her. Don't know if it's a bad idea, so she's summoning her first imp, but we killed her, everything's fine, and I think I'm gonna be more careful if I meet her again with some other monsters around. That could be getting ugly. Natasha always appears 2 more times after you killed her the first time, and there's a first adder. That could be potentially really ugly. The poison can stack up really bad, but I'm gonna try to kill it. Oh, the first hit took a lot of her life. Lucky me. Sometimes you just don't hit him with +0 equipment and low weapon and fighting value. And yeah, mean things happen down there in the dungeon. But right now, seems we're getting lucky. So there's a dart slug. Let's kill this dart slug. It's kiting me into the water. And yeah, not too much trouble here. So can I... Oh, he's avoiding the water. Smart goblin. There goes an ooze. But he's standing in the water and fighting worse. That's nice. But in terms of loot, this dungeon floor was pretty dry. So there's the next run, Natasha, but again she's alone, and it seems like I kill her fast enough to get the job done. So there's a shiny helmet. Thank you, RNG. That's very thoughtful. So we're going downstairs and see what lurks on Dungeon 3. And I'm more than anxious now, because we kinda like found nothing on T2. I have this one more scroll. It's a scroll of fog. Yahoo! Okay, so probably have to run if I face something really ugly here, because I have no backup resources right now. We got a potion of magic and a potion of cancellation. Being a Minotaur, that's not the best starting equipment. So there's this ring mail. It's 2 more AC. I'm gonna keep this leather armor for some reasons. Could come in handy if I run into a unique boss, which features a lot of fire damage. But I don't think I'm gonna wear it again. I don't know yet. But I have plenty of space left, and I can afford to carry it around a bit. So we're getting some amulets and rings, which is really a good thing. And I feel like I should train some invocations. So, hello there. That's a hand axe of electrocution. It's exactly the thing I wanted to find early on. So from all weapon brandings you can find, electrocution does the best job in the early game because it does a flat amount of bonus damage. And the other brands do damage based off the base damage of the weapon, which means if the weapon has low base damage, flaming and freezing and slicing and all those only give a lower bonus in damage than the electrocution brand can offer. So this would have been scary with my old axe, I think. So there's some plate armor. Now we're getting going here. Okay, so now we have some decent amount of armor class. Electrocution branded weapon. I feel like I can auto-explore some. Still, I want to be careful with the uniques. I'm gonna put up some invocations on the side now. And probably gonna turn off dodging for now, because wearing heavy armor certainly doesn't provide the dodgiest fighting style. So rather let this flow into invocations and be a loyal servant to the Shining One and get some goodies. Because right now I can only summon this shield with a very bad chance. I want to change that. This will come in handy if I face my first ogre or something. Other hard-hitting stuff. You really want to put up some options against this stuff, because it will happen. Like stuff like that. That's exactly what I was talking about. So there's Pico. He's always coming with those slaves, which are bound to him by evil magic, and they will be freed as soon as the kobold is slain. But right now I'll just flee upstairs and kill this ant And I don't want to go up down there. I think I'm able to kill him, but it's D4, and that's what, in terms of where you can meet Pikel, is very, very early. So there's the first ogre. I have the Divine Shield, and let's carefully smack him. Okay, that went well. So there's a slave, and another ogre. My shield is still running, so that won't hurt. That's why I'm very careful around these. They can end your life pretty quickly. So there's Pikel. I'm gonna flee to these stairs, take the slave and kill him. Poor him, he doesn't even give XP. So let's take this fight upstairs again and kite it a little bit. And yeah, I hope I'm gonna survive this, but oh yeah, this was a nice chunk of experience, and also a whip of freezing. Well, I wanna have some non-cutting weapon, even if it's crappy, because at some point we will meet Hydras, and you can't kill Hydras with bladed weapons, apart from flaming bladed weapons, or you'll just keep multiplying their heads, Hydra stuff. So that's the third ogre on D4. I'm gonna put up the shield again, just in case. I'm a monk. I started with some bonus piety and the first god I convert into, so I can afford to use this ability a bit more often. And the halo around me makes my enemies easier to hit, which is certainly pretty useful. So there's the temple. I don't need to explore it because I already have my god. So there's our first sling bullets. No, we had some before. So I'm gonna adjust my items to quick draw them. That's letters A and B in your inventory. And you can quick swap them with this shiny button. Very useful to quickly quiver between ranged and melee options, or different melee options. I can only say it's a really useful option if you don't know this yet, which you probably do. You can ignore it then. So we're down D5. This is the point where my characters tend to die sometimes, because you can really meet the first ugly stuff, like manticores or some other out-of-depth monstrosities. But right now we haven't seen a single monster yet. Just some random loot, nothing special. A quokka, well, that's not scary. Grinder, that's very scary. Okay, so I think I do enough damage against this thing to kill it, but then it can paralyze and blink and smack me like a lot. Tough decision here. I tend to avoid Grinder at any costs if I don't have any magic resistance or healing potions, and that's exactly the case here. So I'm gonna take flight, and I got paralyzed. But it's a long way. Although Grinder's movement is erratically, and I'm out of his range for the paralyzed spell, obviously. And there we go. Grinder is one of those enemies you don't want to mess around with. The blink makes the situations with this little baddie really, really dangerous, because you can kill him almost, and then he starts blinking and smacking and blinking and smacking, and you're standing there rather helpless. So we had a scroll of amnesia, and this is recharging. Sadly, we're not carrying any wands yet. Got 2 ID. Let's ID some of my potions. That's curing. And that's resistance. Well, more exotic tools here for the early game. So there's an enchanted whip, but I don't think it's gonna beat my electrocution hand axe, although I'm gonna take it. And as soon as we get the next remove curse scroll, we can try it out. Maybe it's Holy Wrath. This would be something nice, especially for Grinder as such. But for now, we're gonna just leave this place, leave Grinder. I've explored the whole floor. And at least I do know where Grinder is and how to avoid him. Just don't enter D5 anymore. And that's done. Okay. So, it's D6 now. And again, not much resistance. That's level 8. That's more strength. That's what I like to see. Maybe I'm gonna skill some more dexterity later on. I don't know yet. Double ogre time. Now that's some troubling stuff. I think I'm gonna go upstairs with one of those and hope Grinder's not around. So that's why I didn't want to fight 2 at once. Although the vicinity to Grinder really spooked me here for a moment. I really didn't enjoy the thought that Grinder might come right around that corner, paralyzing me right next to the ogre. Spooky stuff. Certain death. So let's remove curse. Let's try out some jewelry. Let's resist from magic and a ring of ice. No perma item for me. We got an amulet. I'm gonna try it out. It's an amulet of regeneration. Perfect. So, I want to see how high Grinder's chances are to hurt us now, because Grinder is also a lot of experience. So for that case, we forget the floor for a moment and re-explore it. So we have 1 pip of resistance from magic. That's 19% for paralyzing. That's okay enough for my taste. We got some curing potions, we got regeneration. And let's hunting sling Grinder. And let's melee him. We got paralyzed, but that's not too much damage. So we're swapping back to the sling, trying to shoot it from afar, and there we go. Probably my HP were enough to kill him before, but well, let's eat some jelly. Another helmet. Thank you, RNG. An armor shop. We certainly do want to have this ruined cloak. Apart from that, I'm gonna put up this glowing ring mail into my shopping list so I can look it up here. And let's check out this cloak. It's a cloak of magic resistance. That's really nice. We have 2 dots of magic resistance right now. Another scroll of ID, but I don't think there's anything worth identifying right now. So we're gonna carry it around for a bit. And there's his staff. Well, I'm no caster. Oh, there's an orc party. So I'm lucky their priest is in front of them, which makes him very easy to kill. And you always want to kill the priests first, because they can smite you. Oh, hello there. Battle axe. Shiny, shiny. So, my hand axe here has a base damage of 7, which is really not much, comparing the battle axe, which has 15, which is more than double of that. But it's a slow weapon. The base attack delay is 1.7. We need 20 points of axes to perfectly wield that. We're at 7.2 right now. For now, I'm gonna carry it with me. And there's the next. Okay, so 2 of these guys have halberds, which means they can all do a lot of damage. And we certainly don't want to run them directly into their faces. Could be potential suicide. So let's rather take them upstairs. Or just that snake. That's better. Okay. I think I can survive this. Oh, that's perfect. We were able to divide them, and now it's no big deal. There's the centaur, but we are wearing plate armor, and that protects from centaurs pretty well. They are really dangerous if you're featuring a very low armor class, but with armor class 15, their short bows don't hurt too much. I can channel a cleansing blast of flame now. Well, not too well. So we're piling up some teleportation scrolls, which is nice and handy. What's this? Okay. So we're flail wielder now. No more axes. Cut that crap. That's a really nice drop. All the goodies we need. That's pretty lucky, actually. That's really, really lucky. So, considering our resistances, we're resistant to poison now. We can see invisible. We only need fire and cold resistance to be pretty defended here from bad things. Okay. That's nice. D6, very resourceful. So our chances of winning are climbing higher and higher. But I certainly don't want to have this situation like that. But we can stair dance and separate them bit by bit. And there's the priest. I'm still gonna rush some more strength. Ooh, that looked like it hurt. And ID some potions. That's lignification. Well, could be useful. Gotta keep it. It's a potion which turns me into a tree, which has some benefits and some bad sides. So, we have a ghost. That's a hill orc fighter. 15 damage. A lot of HP, more than I do, actually. We're gonna try. Let's go back to the stairs and let him come. And let's start hitting him carefully, but looks like we're winning this. And this was 30% experience to my next level, pretty easily. This flail will do a lot of work here. So there's Prince Ribbit, which is potentially pretty dangerous, but, well, we're killing them too fast. This flail has the +8 enchantment, which means we have a lot of chances to hit them, because +8 is potentially like wearing a +8 Ring of Slaying, which is pretty insane at this point of the game. We're only at D7. So there's a ruined Morning Star. Morning Stars are better weapons than flails. Well, we have Remove Curse. Might as well try it. Morning Star of Protection. I don't think I'm gonna ever use something like that. I don't think I need this Hand-Axe of Electrocution anymore. And neither the Whip of Freezing. The Hunting Sling I'm gonna keep. Let's see what this whip is. It's a Whip of Electrocution, which would be also pretty nice. But that's also not too interesting. So, there's a ring. Let's try what it is. It's a ring of strength. Well, might as well keep it on, but I could also drop it and it wouldn't make too much of a difference because strength only negates your encumbrance rating from too heavy armor, and well, I think I have enough strength for that. Plate armor, that is. Nah, can also enchant this sling, but we don't own any items worth enchanting yet. Some orcs down the floor. Okay. So I'd rather take this back. I mean, I guess I'm strong enough to just walk into their faces and just annihilate them. With all the protective stuff we're wearing now. I think I can be more reckless, but, well, I want to win this game. I don't want to run into some foolish death. And I'd rather stick to these good behaviors here. And this is the situation where it's smarter running their faces, because I could reach the priest pretty quickly, and as soon as the priest is down, I can fight the rest pretty easily. But I think also this ogre won't be too much of a problem right now anymore. So I think we're pretty set for like lair. Oh boy, that's an interesting fight. They got a shaman, which means he can potentially haste and heal them. But I feel comfortable taking them down. I can kill quick enough with this flail to take fights like these. Don't think I need to be that scared anymore. I'm gonna be careful if I'm facing my first two-headed ogre or Joseph. Let's run. Joseph is always coming with a quarterstaff and a sling and some good skills using them, and he can penetrate plate armor pretty good with his skill set. And we want to take him out alone and not with a phantom and a centaur. So let's check him out. It's a normal hunting sling at least. And there's the centaur. It's not gonna work like that. But it's kind of a sticky situation here. Do I have any wands I can use? No. Any potions of use? Not really. It's such a sad life. I think I'm gonna go to the stairs there. Let's check. Yeah, that one. And let's just pretend the lower section of this floor doesn't exist, and let's move on and see if we can pull up some trick to make this fight a little bit easier. So there's a potion of invisibility, and sadly I can't use this feature anymore. So there's the next trouble. Oh, she's coming with a dagger of distortion, and with all these options I shaft myself. And I'm rethinking this visit of D8 with Joseph and Psyche around. That's pretty spooky, especially Psyche. Her dagger of distortion can potentially banish me into the abyss, and this would potentially end this run, because I have no means of healing myself apart from this little stack of curing potions, and that's certainly not enough for taking a round trip in the abyss. Nope, not at all. So there's some more ID. That's haste, finally something useful. And I think for now I'll just skip D8, come back later with a nice wand or some means of killing these people from afar. And I mean, I do have my hunting sling, but I don't trust it enough to take out something like Psyche from afar properly. And I don't want to risk getting banished at this point. And as we can see, we're clearing D8 pretty easily, so there's an antiquity shop and options. Bunch of scrolls. A potion. I'm gonna pick up this potion, the scroll of ID, and all of those unidentified scrolls, I mean, because that could potentially be a scroll of acquirement, if I'm lucky. It's magic mapping. Kinda wasted. Silly me. Gonna enchant the cloak with a scroll of enchant armor, and a wasted scroll of summoning, but it's okay. Wasting it now is better than later, because the scroll gets stronger and stronger across the game, because it triggers this an identical effect as the spell Shadow Creatures. So there's a cloak, which is a basic +1 cloak. Can't beat our Cloak of Magic Resistance. And Shadow Creatures is a spell which always produces some creatures which could spawn on the floor or branch you're at, and that's basically always useful, because you can always fight fire with fire. Bees. So we're resistant to poison, so these bees aren't too dangerous. They can be dangerous at times if you're lacking poison resistance and good weaponry to fight them, because the evasion rating is pretty high. And that's where the Potion of Lignification is very useful. So let's dive down to D10. And I just hope the entrance to the lair wasn't on D8, because lair can spawn from D8 to D11 as far as I remember, and it would be really sad if it was at such different difficult circumstances. So there's some more bees. We're taking them down pretty well. I'm really happy how this run is going. I want to see some resist corrosion and resist electricity in the next time. So there's some whites, let's let them come. They're usually a good source of heavy weaponry early on, but we're set here. Getting drained some, but that's not the end of the world. So our run here is going really easily so far. And that's Erica. She's definitely beatable with all the magic resistance we are showing here, but I'm gonna drink a potion of resistance just in case. So she tried to go invisible with no success, because we can see invisible with this beautiful weapon we found. And there's another shop. Okay, so I'm gonna mark this, pick up this scroll of ID, and the rest of the stuff is not too interesting for my taste. So we got some potions to ID. That's degeneration. Yummy. Let's drop that immediately. Nobody needs those. Ambrosia. That's a nice one to have. And agility. Well, agility is not too useful here. An antiquity shop. Unidentified ring. Gonna mark this. Maybe want to pick this up later. Boots. I don't have boots yet. And yeah, that's pretty much everything we want to have right now from these items here. Okay, so there goes another ring. We have still some remove curse. And that's +1 evasion. That's possibly more useful than strength, but well, I'm not gonna hassle around. Those both rings are pretty useful. That's a bookshop. Useless, I meant. Not useful. That's pretty mean to me. 2 priests. This can certainly bring me to some danger. Let's go around the corner and start smacking. I wanted to avoid the time they can see me both and smite me, because they'd need no direct line of sight. They can just smite above the heads of their companions, which is really dangerous. And they can do up to 17 damage per smite, which can burn through my HP here still pretty decently. Okay, so there's a new potion of resistance, a troll, but we're doing short work with these. So looks like we're gonna try if it's D11 for lair. A weapon boutique with no useful things at all. That's a bit sad. So let's go D11. But this is going really good so far. So there's a first yaks. This might be an indicator for the lair entrance, but they might be just spawning here. It's D11. That's where you can meet some yak, even if the dungeon. But no, we're lucky. It's the D11 entrance for the lair, with this Komodo dragon inside. And let's take him carefully, but he didn't hurt me at all, which is pretty amazing. So let's check our skills. We're at 9 points of Maces of Flails. We need 14 for this flail, and that's really cool. We're getting really quick with this flail, and I'm pretty happy that I found a good flail and not a good axe, because with a flail you can safely kill hydras, and we're certainly gonna see some in the lair. And if you have no hydra killing option when you're entering lair, it's probably really dangerous. And this is also really dangerous. This manticore is really spooking me, because his ranged attack can debuff me with barbs, and then I get damage for every step I take. So I'm gonna slowly go to these stairs, avoid the line of sight to this guy, and flee for now, because I certainly don't wanna fight a manticore and a two-headed ogre at once, because the manticore on her own puts up a decent fight at this point of the game, normally. I mean, I'm super strong. It could be that I'm just gonna be whacking both of them, but a few lucky hits from the two-headed ogre and stuff is getting really ugly. So there's a new scroll. It's immolation. You can do funny stuff with immolation. And so there's the manticore, and it's alone. Looks like we can avoid the ogre, and we're smacking this manticore pretty easily. I'm happy. That's orc and lair on the same floor. That's pretty nice. And yeah, where's this two-headed ogre? I want to take him down. Or probably not, I have no healing. There's a first steam dragon, but he dies too fast to be a big problem. So there's some more whites. Got drained some, but it doesn't really matter. It's very moderate. Centaur warrior skeleton. These put up some fight. Let's pick up the steam dragon corpse. but not the scales. They're not too useful. Okay, so there's a first Hydra. Oh boy, and it's 8-headed. It's gonna be fun. So let's check our options first. I have no blinking. I have no bigger means of healing. And no wands. I don't like it. I don't like it. If it goes bad, I'm pretty nailed down. Can only try to teleport away in time. So let's put up the shield, which is at 9. It's not too bad. And let's see if this potion of agility does anything. It's EV 15. That's better. And yeah, we're killing it pretty quick. So we got the buffs and ran into this ogre. Beautiful. And there's Uruk with an enchanted demon trident. Uruk always comes with a bunch of javelins, so I'm breaking the line of sight and reconsider my chances here. My damage is sufficient to bring him down. Her, I don't know. As long as I don't get nailed down by too many ranged attacks. But I think I'm gonna haste if this fight goes bad at some point. Because it takes a few hits. And yeah, it was a hard fight, but that's a glowing chainmail. Let's try it out. It's a chainmail of poison resistance, which would have been useful if we didn't have this flail, which comes with a resist poison flavor. But, well, I'm gonna drop it. Demon Trident is taboo, being a follower of the Shining One, good god, and everything. And yeah, there's Lair, and let's end this first episode of our Minotaur Monk here. And thanks for watching, and I hope we're gonna see for the next episode of this funny guy. See you soon, guys.